Was celebrating Mass here this morning, sitting in the chair, and imagine that I was, asked to give the homily like I'm doing. What would happen if I told you in front of the bishop that we need to listen to him because he is our local shepherd, but don't follow his example? That would not be a good thing to do. It probably would earn me an assignment out in the desert somewhere. After all, nobody wants to be accused of being a hypocrite. No one wants to be accused of not practicing what they preach. Jesus, didn't seem to shy away from criticizing people who were hypocrites. He was very forgiving and merciful to people who humbly acknowledged their sins, but he didn't have much patience with hypocrites. His most direct criticism seemed to be aimed at the religious authorities, the religious leaders who, he says, impose religious burdens on the faithful, but didn't embrace those burdens themselves. It's like the minister who admonishes the congregation every Sunday, don't drink, don't smoke, don't gamble, and then he's seen in the casino doing exactly the opposite. Hypocrisy not only calls a person's credibility into question, but it can create confusion for people who look to the religious authority for moral guidance, for leadership. Especially, we look to those who are given and entrusted with some kind of religious authority. So during Lent, it seems to me that one of the goals is to become more authentic people. And I think the way to become more authentic is to embrace and live the example of Jesus. To some degree, we can all be accused of hypocrisy and self-centeredness and thinking about ourselves more than others. But Lent invites us to let go of these tendencies, or at least to struggle against them faithfully. And it is possible for us to do that because Jesus himself lived in this way. He successfully resisted the temptation for self-glorification. And he teaches us that we can do the same thing with his grace. A good dose of humility is probably the remedy for hypocrisy. You may know the name Thomas Merton. Thomas Merton was an American Trappist monk. He was a prolific writer. I think in 27 years, he wrote like 50 books, mostly on spirituality and social justice and such. His crowning achievement was his autobiography, Seven Story Mountain. And even though he had chosen to embrace this humble life as a Trappist monk, he was kind of thrust into the spotlight. And he struggled with the fame that came from being such a popular writer, the adulation that so many people gave him. And he wrote of his struggle in this way. When humility delivers us from attachment to our own works and our own reputation, then we can discover true joy. This joy is only possible when we have completely forgotten ourselves. Only when we pay no more attention to our own life and our own reputation and our own excellence will we be completely free to serve God for God's sake alone. So as we continue through this Lenten season, we might try not to think about ourselves so much. We can do that, I think, through the traditional practices of this season: prayer, almsgiving, and self-denial.